council call of this school year. You guys know who I am. I'm your Vice President of Northern California. Chris, you want to introduce yourself for the final time?
Hello, I'm Christopher Carlsen, your Vice President of Southern California.
And Wenhan?
I am Wenhan, your Vice President of Silicon Valley.
Awesome. So same drill as last time and the past few months. We'll go through the updates we have for you, and then we will conclude our final President's Council meeting. So let's jump right into it. We'll start out with talking about the district CDCs, which happened a few weeks ago. So we had the Silicon Valley conference a week before NorCal and SoCal, and I think that we had a pretty good turnout. Wenhan, do you want to talk a little bit about Silicon Valley?
Yeah, so we had around 700 or 800 people come. Overall, I think the conference went really well. I was impressed with everybody in the Silicon Valley district who competed. And look forward to seeing you guys next year, or just at States, but really do look forward to seeing you guys next year around too.
Chris, you want to give the breakdown for SoCal, how the turnout was?
Sorry.
So until he comes back on, I'll talk about NorCal. NorCal had about a turnout of about 750 competitors. So it turned out pretty well, I think. We had our reintroduction of the Mr. and Miss NorCal competition. And overall, I thought that was it went pretty smoothly. I was kind of worried about how that would turn out. We had 3 participants for each, and we had winners from what was it? We had winners from American High School, and then I forget who won for Mr. NorCal. Sorry, bad memory. But overall, it went pretty smoothly, and I think even though the conference turnout was a little bit smaller than last year, it went pretty well. Chris, you want to talk a little bit about SoCal?
Yeah, sorry about that. There was nearly 400 people that attended SoCal, and we had a talent show at SoCal. We also had a social game night activity, which all the chapters kind of participated in. We had a bunch of board games. We had some games on our stage. We had a President's Trivia game, and I think it turned out really well. And there was a lot of members, a lot more membership growth than from last year.
So yeah, overall, at the end of our district CDCs, I think it went as smooth as it could have gone, and it was tough because that was for me personally, that was my last meeting. But that aside, we have one more conference that we need to prepare for. So we have our State Career Development Conference coming up in March. So there are a few things I need to run through with you guys so that you guys are aware. So for those who remember, we had a social media challenge at each of the district conferences. We are going to have a similar deal at the state conference for all of the members, and there'll be more detail provided with time for that. But we're going to be carrying that on. This year, there'll be a Snapchat geofilter available at the main hotel, the Santa Clara Marriott, and also the Santa Clara Convention Center. So definitely look out for that. This year, if you guys remember last year, we had Jacob Curley as our keynote speaker. This year we have John Beatty, and he's someone who has climbed Mount Everest, and his story is a very inspiring one. So I think this is going to be a really good presentation. So that being said, there's a little bit of a change in the commute situation. There are a few chapters that are in hotels outside the main headquarters hotel. So I'm going to post a link on the chat for everybody so that you guys know the walking and bus routes so that everybody's aware. Let me just go ahead and post that real quick. And by the way, if there are any questions at all, even if it's not related to what we're talking about right now, please go ahead and ask. Okay, so I've just posted the link for the bus routes and the walking routes for the people who aren't staying in the same hotel. So that being said, I think this is one thing that everybody's looking forward to. we have our elections coming up for the state president and also the appointed positions, the VP of Public Relations and the Vice President of Communications. So as with the district VPs at the district conferences, 2 delegates per chapter, and it's all going to be towards the state president because the other 2 positions are appointed. I think that we've been over that before. Opening session for the state conference is going to be on Friday night, not on Thursday like it has been in previous years. Another new thing that's being introduced is that for the state conference, we're going to have our own conference app. So it'll be available for free download. At that point, we're going to have our in-person President's Council meeting. So I guess you can't say this one's the last one, but that'll be our final way to wrap up the school year or this DECA season. So we'll be having an in-person meeting there. This year, we're going to be introducing we're going to try to get your involvement with the parade of chapters, which they'll be rehearsing time for, and your advisors will be getting emails for that. The chapter presidents will be representing their chapters during the opening session. So more information will be provided in an email sent to your advisor. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it in terms of the updates for that conference. Chris, Wenhan, do you have anything to add? No? All right. And are there any questions at this point in time? Okay. So Chris, do you want to take over?
Yeah. So next we're going to be talking about the ICDC preview. At the state competition, if you finish top 4 in any of your events, then you will qualify for ICDC. ICDC this year is from April 25th to April 30th in Anaheim, California. And the state of California will be staying at the Disneyland Hotel. And some other associations that are also staying there are Alaska, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Nevada. The registration material for ICDC is going to come out soon and will certainly be up after the state conference. And then really make sure if you qualify at the state conference, make sure you check out the registration material and see if you can make it to Anaheim for ICDC.
Cool. And so now I'm going to be segueing away from all the competitions and talking a little bit about CTE month. So CTE month is February, so we're already 7 days in. And CTE month's a really great way of advocating for the CTE class, current technical education. As you know, DECA is a CTSO, and now with the new regulations and rules instated by the California Board of Education, it's kind of mandatory that you take a CTE class. So it's a really good way of advocating, showing support for the CTE class. And if you're in a school where CTE isn't as well built, it might be a really good way of getting the attention of your administrators, your school district. It's just a really good way of showing the value of the class, showing the value of the Korean technical education within DECA. And if you ever need any resources to help promote CTE month, Lenexa has actually posted a series of really good promotional materials on the Facebook group. You can find that. It's 2 posts down, and there's just a really great collection of promotional material for any type of CTE promotion that you choose to do.
So now we're going to be talking about the online press kit. So if you didn't know already, our Vice President of Public Relations, Joel Beckwith, has done a really awesome job about creating this online press kit. And what you can do is chapters can submit photos and articles to highlight their chapter's success, either what they're doing in their own local community, say what they did at their district conference. The January deadline just passed. It was January 31st, but now the February deadline, you can submit articles and photos for the month of February. And so Joel posted this on the Facebook group as well, so you can check out his post. All press releases, articles, and pictures can be sent to his email. I'll link it right now. And then the subject with online press kit. And Joel has worked really hard on it, and we're certainly excited to see this project come to fruition. So if you have any photos, articles, you want to highlight your chapter's success, it's a great way to show it.
Cool. Sorry about that. All right. So now I'm going to be talking a little bit about our annual report. So this is something that as the state officer team, we've been working on for a few months already. And it's just basically a compilation of everything that we've done over the, everything that we've done over the course of this year. We've let you know through President's Council a lot of the things that we've done. And this is just a really great way of summarizing everything and letting you know like some of the resources that we've offered and just some of the things, and also gives you an opportunity while looking through to give us feedback as to things that you think we did well and things that you think that we can improve on. So some things on there are, for example, the online press kits that Joel's been working on. And there's also things such as like the social media kits. There's general information about us as officers. There's information about membership within each of our regions. There's stuff about the conferences. There's highlights from the leadership conferences, the regional conferences. And those will be offered during and physical copies of the annual report will be available during the President's or Most Valuable Member Breakfast that will be held during states. So be on the lookout for that. We really appreciate any feedback you have on any of the stuff that we've done over the course of this year.
So that's pretty much all we have for topics. There's a couple things I want to add right now. The written event deadline is on February 16th at 5 p.m. That's when you have to submit all your written events online. And I've gotten some questions before about, do you need to include statement of insurances? You do not have to include the statement of insurances on the online one when you submit it, because there's an online pop-up that comes up and you basically say, I agree. But then when you go to the state conference, you'll have to submit a physical copy of the statement of assurances. Also, for the state conference, we're looking at 1,800 members, so that's really cool. And now for our best practices, we're going to be talking about membership retention. It's getting kind of towards the end of the year and looking towards how you're going to build your chapter for the year to come, how you're going to retain those members. Some great ways is holding social events over the summer with your chapter. This can be like texting people in your chapter, be like, hey, let's have an ice cream night. Let's have a movie night. Something that just kind of casual, but still, you will still maintain the group of your chapter. Also, you can start planning for your written events for the next year. You don't have just create a basic outline, brainstorm ideas of what you want to do. That's also a great idea. Now, if anyone wants to add, since you guys are all chapter presidents, if anyone wants to add ideas of how you can maintain membership throughout the summer and going into the next year, this is a great time to chime in.
And yes, Brian, we saw your question. We'll be answering that right after this, this about advocacy and membership. Yeah, we'll be answering the questions shortly. Cool. Any feedback? Okay, cool. Yeah, so for those of you who didn't see in the chat, Brian basically asked why the deadline for the on-written submission was pushed forward 2 weeks. And Yash, Chris, do you guys have an answer for that?
The biggest reason that it's, well, Chris, did you want to go over that? You were about to say something.
I think it would probably be the same as what you were about to say, but while it is somewhat, while it is like in February, going forward, it's going to help California DECA a lot, just because the written events are going to be better. It checks for plagiarism, and going forward, it's just what a lot of other state associations do that as well. So going forward is the better option, and it will ultimately, once people like this is the first year of it, so people might not be used to it. But going forward, I think it's just going to become routine and better for everyone.
Yeah, I think this year was the time for the shifts in terms of things going online with the knowledge test and everything for candidates, and then this year with the written submissions. It's mostly just to make everything more efficient and risk-free, I guess you could say. So plagiarism is the biggest reason why it's online now.
And honestly, nobody's at a disadvantage because of this, because you guys all are subject to the same deadline. So even though I completely understand that it's been moved up 2 weeks, everybody within the California DECA Association has to abide by these rules. So nobody's being put at an unfair disadvantage by having the deadline move forward 2 weeks.
One comment on the chapter input, though. The reality is that wasn't our call either. It's kind of just our job to relay the information we were given from the upper management. It wasn't our choice as a team to put it online or anything. This is something that the association is doing in accordance with other associations, so other states kind of did this as a collaborative effort. So it's not just us as a state officer team that can kind of influence it, which is the reason that chapters really weren't given the I guess, open channel of communication in that sense, in terms of, hearing your opinions. So that wasn't even on us. So that's the reason behind that. I hope that answers your question.
Cool. Does anybody else have any further questions, comments, suggestions?
Yeah, so just to confirm, this year there will be 4 finalist spots and not 3, because I know we did have a drop in membership, and one of the other state officers said it was kind of borderline.
Yeah, so this year it's going to be the top 4 for every event, so it's going to be the same.
Yeah, 4 for everything.
Yeah, we're good in that sense. Is there anything else from anybody at all? All right, so if not, feel free to... Oh, hey, it's Sachin. Yeah. Chris, you want to answer that?
The online submission system for writtens. So if you actually go to californiadeca.org and you go to the conferences and you go to state conference, there's all this material for the state conference. And I actually have the link and I'll pull it up right now. But I think it's Form F. If you scroll down and go to Form F, it opens up a Word document and it shows you the online submission system. You need to read through it so you know what you're doing first. But I have the link where you can submit it. I'll post that right now. But again, I recommend going down to californiadeca.org, going to Form F, reading through all that, because that's all the online submission instructions.
Yeah, read the procedure first.
And also just a quick comment about the online written questions. Just know that because of the limitations of the system, all the written events are limited to 4 megabytes. I know that this has been an issue for a lot of people who have already submitted or are in the process of for those chapters that haven't started submitting the writtens yet. This is something that you definitely want to let your members know, so that they can shrink the files or whatever to make sure that it's compliant with the 4 megabyte limit.
So are there any questions at all otherwise?
This is also a good time to add, if you have anything about retaining membership, you can add something, even in the chat or by talking.
Any questions, comments, or anything whatsoever?
It's the last call. It's the last call.
If not, you guys can always feel free to message us or post on the page, and we'll approve your post. So if there isn't anything left that you guys want to ask to the entire group, then all right. I call this final President's Council call adjourned. We are done. If you guys want to hang out like you normally do, we can do that as we normally do. Apart from that, thanks guys. It's been a fantastic year, and it has been an honor to help lead this group, especially with Chris and Wenhan. So it was fun, and I look forward to seeing you guys at States.
Same.
Yeah.